From a rare pigeon with less than 10 left in the wild to a rare owl that won't breed in captivity. Stay tuned to number 1 to see the top 10 rarest birds on Earth. Number 10. The Christmas Frigatebird. Automatically one of the coolest birds out there, this one has the name Christmas right in its name. Hailing from Christmas Island off the coast of Malaysia, the Christmas Frigatebird is one of the rarest on the planet and only lives in this small area of the world. It's a dark black bird with a white chest, so it stands out very well, including to the eyes of its predators. It's not a small bird, as its wingspan can be as wide as 7 feet from tip to tip. Due to living on a tiny island in the Pacific, the Christmas Frigatebird lives off of a diet of fish and pretty much nothing else. Despite its larger size though, these rare birds only weigh in at about 4 or 5 pounds. Sadly, very few Christmas Frigatebirds remain in the wild today, with populations estimated to be around 5,000 or less. On the plus side, Christmas Island is very secluded and is home to only 1,500 people, so its habitat is fairly safe from deforestation and development. That means that these guys may still have a chance to make a comeback in the future. Number 9. The Marvelous Spatula. Obviously another amazing bird, this one has the word marvelous right in its name. Native only to a small area in Peru, this is a small hummingbird with a unique look and very few members of the family. The marvelous spatula was first discovered in the 1830s by Andrew Matthews for his friend George Lottages. George even got the bird's genus named after him, Lottagesia. The bird has a unique look which is rare all of its own. Unlike other birds, the marvelous spatula only has 4 tail feathers, which is much fewer than most other birds. Also, 2 of these feathers help it to stay aerodynamic in flight due to their spatula shape, hence their name. Over the years, population growth and deforestation have threatened the marvelous spatula, but luckily, in 2006, Peru passed a conservation law that set aside 100 acres of land for the preservation of many different animals, including the marvelous spatula. So far, it seems to be working, as the bird's population has stopped decreasing, and today, it is no more endangered now than it was over a decade ago. Next step is population growth. Number 8. The Orangebellied Parrot. As you would expect, the orange-bellied parrot is named for its orange belly, but it also has a rainbow of colors around its body. Blending blue, green, and yellow, this bird stands out very well in the forest. However, it's unlikely you'll spot one as they are very rare and on the endangered list these days. Before we learn about the orange-bellied parrot though, take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Zero to Hero using the buttons below. We definitely appreciate you. This bird is also rare in design in relation to its fellow parrots. The orange-bellied parrot is the only type that does not migrate during the colder months, but living in South Australia is warm enough for them, I suppose. The birds are typically found low to the ground and hanging out in small flocks rather than large crowds. The orange-bellied parrot is critically endangered, a classification that puts them at high risk of becoming extinct. With only 300 or so left in the wild, Australian conservationists are focused on keeping these guys alive and getting more to breed. Luckily, some zoos have been successful and more are being born in captivity today. Number 7. The Seibu Flowerpecker. Maybe the most endangered on this list, this guy was actually declared extinct in the past. Fortunately, in 1992, explorers in the Philippines found a few still alive, but they are still very endangered today. The Seibu Flowerpecker is only found in 4 small areas of the Philippines and is a very small bird at only 11 to 12 centimeters in size. They are colorful, with a mix of white, brown, orange, and black feathers. They live deep in the forest, which helps them to keep safe from predators. But despite this, they have been dying off. These little guys are critically endangered today, with only an estimated 100 or so remaining in the wild. Scientists aren't even sure why they aren't breeding as much, nor why they're dying off despite having few natural predators. But captivity breeding has been helping, and naturalists will hopefully bring the Seibu Flowerpecker back to a thriving status. Number 6. The Imperial Amazon. Also known as the Cicero parrot, the Imperial Amazon is native to the island nation of Dominica. In fact, it's the national bird. A very colorful creature with a mix of colored feathers, the Imperial Amazon is hard to find even on the only island it calls home. The Imperial Amazon is a very elusive bird, tending to stay away from people at all costs. Most of them tend to hang out in groups of 2 or 3 and rarely in larger groups. Their feathers are a mix of red and green colors, making them noticeable as they perch on high trees. But unfortunately, their colorful look makes them easy for predators to find them. Endangered, but not on the edge of extinction, there are about 300 Imperial Amazons left in the Commonwealth of Dominica. Between predators, hurricane conditions, and poachers, there are a lot of factors working against these guys. And with limited conservation resources available on the island, it may not end well for the Imperial Amazon. Number 5. The kakapo. Even though it has a fun name to say, the kakapo is a weird-looking little bird. Also called the owl parrot because this guy really does look like an owl and a parrot hybrid creature. Sporting a big beak and green feathers with purple talons, the kakapo is a rare bird that is quickly becoming endangered. Making its home in New Zealand, the kakapo is also a rare flightless bird, almost never taking flight for any reason. The weight of the bird is just too much for its small wings. Despite its deficiencies though, the kakapo has been a popular bird for New Zealanders for its feathers and its meat. Unfortunately, these factors help the bird to become critically endangered in recent years. With conservation efforts now in place, they can no longer be killed for sport or meat, but there are only 150 of them left now, which may be too few to keep them going. On the plus side, they can live up to 90 years old, so there may be hope yet for the kakapo to make a return. Number 4. The pink pigeon. Can you guess what this guy looks like? Just as the name suggests, the pink pigeon would look very familiar to us city dwellers in America. But this bird is native to the Indian island of Mauritius. It's the only remaining pigeon species in that region and has been dangerously close to extinction. The pink pigeon looks very similar to any typical pigeon we are familiar with, but its feathers have a pink tint to them. Standing about a foot tall, these guys tend to live for about 15 to 20 years. The pink pigeon came very close to extinction in the early 1990s when scientists figured out there were as few as 10 left in the world. Fortunately, conservationists were able to breed them in captivity though, and they've been successful in releasing them back into the wild over the years. Luckily, this has brought the population back up to around 500 today. Number 3. The Mauritius Kestrel. Yeah, you would think that any type of falcon would be tough enough to never become endangered, but you'd be wrong. Another bird from the Indian Ocean Islands, the Mauritius Kestrel is a type of falcon with brown and yellow feathers and very sharp talons, but only a few hundred of its kind remain on Earth. It's a pretty small bird, at only 30 centimeters in size, and weighs only 150 grams. However, it's still a falcon, so it is well equipped to hunt and kill other wildlife in order to survive. The main course for this guy is a mix of lizards, cockroaches, and small bugs, which helps to control these populations on the island where they live. The fact that any Mauritius kestrels are still alive today is actually a miracle, as there were as few as 4 back in the 1970s. For a while, it was considered the rarest bird on Earth. But luckily, a group of universities from around the world took up the task of trying to bring them back, and today, there are about 400 or so living in the wild. Number 2. The Kago. The Kago is another rare bird with not too many left in its population, and it doesn't help that they only live on one island. New Caledonia in the southwest Pacific Ocean is the only home to this bluish-gray bird. As a mostly flightless bird, it lives on bugs more than anything else, and it has a hard time with predators, making it one of the world's rarest birds. The Kago is rare in more ways than one. It is the only bird with nasal corns, little flaps that cover their nostrils to prevent dust and allergens from entering their nose. They basically act like nose hair for birds. The Kago is a very rare bird, but populations have been growing in recent years as New Caledonia has put laws in place to protect the bird. One of the biggest issues isn't even poachers or weather, but the soil on the island. The Kago lives mostly on the ground and is exposed to anything that soaks into the soil. As long as the island soil keeps taking in pollutants, the Kago may be in trouble. Number 1. The New Caledonian Owlet Nightjar. Another bird from New Caledonia, the owlet nightjar is a critically endangered bird with only 50 or so left in the wild. and it looks like a small black owl. While it's related to many other similar birds and scientists assume it sounds similar with a chirring and whistling sound, this specific bird has never actually been heard. After all, it's hard to hear a bird when there are so few of them out there to hear. Estimates are at 50 or so Nightjar owlets currently remaining in New Caledonia. The nation has put laws in place to protect them, but it's hard to breed them in captivity. Unfortunately, it looks like this one may be on its way out for good. What do you think about these rare species of birds? Let us know in the comments below and take care.